Good afternoon, everybody. Today is Thursday, August the 20th, 1:02 in the afternoon. We're going to start off with a sound saying coming from Mark chapter 11, verse 24, and it says, "What things soever ye desire, when ye pray, believe that ye receive them, and ye shall have them." What things soever ye desire, when ye pray, here's the key, believe that ye receive them, and ye shall have them. Okay, so when you pray for something, believe that the Lord is willing to give it to you, is able to give it to you, and you shall receive it. Okay. The back is coming from Philippians 1, verse 11. Being filled with the fruits of righteousness, which are by Jesus Christ, unto the glory and praise of God. Being filled with the fruits of righteousness, which are by Jesus Christ, unto the glory and praise of God. Okay. I'm going to continue sharing some of no idea what I've done with it. Okay. We're gonna continue with Psalm 78. But first I'm gonna give you a few more bits of my notes. I'm already behind. Oh God, we are super behind. Okay, these was taken Sunday, December 26, 2019. It's black, coming from Jeremiah 13. Now these notes here are notes that I've taken when I study. So that's why you see these fragmented verses here and there. Okay, but normally when we're reading to you, we don't cut it up, slice it and dice it. We give you the whole entire chapter. Okay, so these are just notes that I've taken that I need to share with you. Okay, this is Jeremiah 13:14, and I will dash them. Okay, the first word is verb is destroy. To put an end to the existence of something by damaging or attacking it. Okay, that's what destroy means. And God is good. He's great. He's wonderful. He can also be terrible. He can be frightening, and he can destroy things as well. Okay. Whenever he causes a tsunami, a hurricane, and whenever he uses his elements, it usually leaves a destruction behind. Okay, so he is able to destroy. There's nothing man can make that God cannot destroy it. Period. Okay? So Jeremiah 13:14, and I will dash them one against another, even the fathers and the sons together, saith the Lord. I will not pity, nor spare, nor have mercy, but destroy them. In the same way that we do not have any fear for God, and we do what we please. So when he starts to deal with his people on earth, he will have no pity, nor will he spare. Okay, just like the world has no shame in what the world does, the Lord will have no pity. You have no shame, he will have no pity. Okay? James 4:12, this is pink for witnessing. There is one lawgiver who is able to save and to destroy. One. Okay? Who art thou that judgest another? All right. Jeremiah 4:13, go to now, ye that say, today or tomorrow we will go into such a city and continue there a year and buy and sell and get gain. James 4:14, whereas ye know not what shall be on the tomorrow. For what is your life? It is even a viper that appears for a little time and then vanishes away. So you should never say, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that tomorrow. You should always say, if the Lord is willing, we shall do this or we shall do that tomorrow. Okay? This allows God to have his way in your tomorrow, because he already knows what your tomorrow is going to be like. You don't know what your tomorrow will be until tomorrow comes. Okay? So when you include him in your today and your tomorrow, you're on a winning streak. Okay? Highlight these so we don't come back to them. James 4:15, for what that ye ought to say, if the Lord will, we shall live and do this or that. That's just what I said. If you are to do anything, you always should include God in it, and you should always say, if the Lord will, we shall live and do this or that. All right? Pride, a terrible thing. Confidence and self-respect expressed by members of a group, typically one that has been socially marginalized on the basis of their shared identity, culture, and experience. Okay, this is one of the examples that we use. I'm just sharing it with you because it was there. And it says the bridge was lifted up in rainbow colors, symbolic of LGBT pride. Okay. This is not my choice. It was just there and I happened to share it with you. Pride, a conceited sense of one's superiority. That's what pride is. It originates from the devil, Isaiah 14:12. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou out down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? And the devil has taken over the nations. You can tell by the things and the customs that the nations now adapt to. Okay? And the fact that they have no fear for God. All right? Isaiah 14:13. For thou hast said, in thy heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of congregation in the sides of the north. Isaiah 14:14, I will ascend above the heights of the cloud. I will be like the Most High. So this was Lucifer with his prideful self, as this generation is with its prideful self. Okay? Isaiah 14:15, yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. Ambition is also a form of pride. Evil hearts, the world, 1 John 2:16, evil heart, Mark 7:21-22, ambition, Daniel 5:20-23, self-righteous, Luke 8:18-12 and 11 and 12. Worldly power, Ezekiel 16:49 and 56. You can read these yourself if you like. Evil of pride, it hardens the mind in Daniel. It produces spiritual decay. That is in Hosea. It keeps from real progress in Proverbs 26. It hinders coming to God in Psalms 10. Issues in self-deception in Jeremiah 14. It makes men reject God's word in Jeremiah 49. Okay. One more page. The evils of pride. It leads to ruins. Okay. Characteristic of it's wicked, world rulers, and last days. We are in our last days, and this is a very, very prideful generation. And in Luke 11, when the a Pharisee had invited our Lord Jesus Christ to come dine with him. He was actually a lawyer, and I was surprised that he looked upon the generation that he was talking to at the time, and he said to them, "This wicked and evil generation." I stood back and had a Selah moment, because I'm saying to myself, Father, what would you think of this generation today? If he was looking at the generation of the biblical time and saying to them that they were an evil generation, what in God's name would he think of this generation today? Okay, let's stop it at there, and we'll continue with Matthew 1, Jesus of Nazareth. Okay, we will continue with that next time. All right, so let's finish up with the reading. We stopped at Psalm 78:22, and I will just repeat 20 to 22 and continue on because they're black. Okay, 20 says, "Behold, he smote the rock, that the water gushed out, and the streams overflowed. Can he give bread also? Can he provide flesh for his people?" 21, "Therefore the Lord heard this and was wroth. So a fire was kindled against Jacob, and anger also came against Israel." 22, "Because they believed not in God and trusted not in his salvation." 23 to 29 is pink for witnessing, and I will just read it straight away. "Though he had commanded the clouds from above and opened the doors of heaven," 24, "and had rained down manna upon them to eat, and had given them of the corn of heaven." 25, "Men did eat angels' food. He sent them meat to the full." 26, "He caused an east wind to blow in the heaven, and by his power he brought in the south wind." 27, "He rained flesh also upon them as dust, and feathered fowls like as the sand of the sea." So that means that wherever they were, the ground was covered with fowls all over the place. There was more than plenty of meat for them to eat. Okay, he was upset, but he gave them what they wanted. Meat, here's your meat. Okay, but while they were still eating the meat, this is what happened. He rained flesh upon them as dust, and feathered fowls like as the sand of the sea. 28, "And he let it fall in the midst of their camp round about their habitation." 29, "So they did eat and were well filled, for he gave them their own desire." Okay, here comes punishment. All right, for your arrogance, for your pridefulness, for your disbelief. Even though he has done all these things already, they still did not trust in God. Okay, 30, "They were not estranged from their just, but while their meat was yet in their mouths." 29, "The wrath of God came upon them, and slew the fattest of them, and smote down the chosen men of Israel." So he killed plenty that day. Plenty were buried that day for their arrogance. As we are losing plenty today for their arrogance. All right. "The wrath of God came upon them, and slew the fattest of them, and smote down the chosen men of Israel." 32, "For all this they sinned still, and believed not for his wondrous works." 33, "Therefore their days did he consume in vanity, and their years in trouble." Okay, 34 is orange for your faith, along with 35. "When he slew them, then they sought him, and they returned and inquired early after God." So this was a backward and forward thing with the Israelites that came out of Egypt. They would piss the Lord off, then they would behave, then they would misbehave, then he would do something else, then they would behave again, and then they would misbehave. So that's why they stayed in trouble. That's why it took 40 years. That's why most of them did not make it to the promised land. Because of their stubbornness, their stiff-neckedness, their unbelief. Okay. And if the Lord can reprimand those in the biblical time, we are not exempt from his wrath. Do you hear me? We are not exempt from his wrath. Okay. 35, and they remembered that God was their rock and the high God their Redeemer. Okay, but in a few minutes, they will forget again. And they remembered that God was their rock and the high God their Redeemer. 36 and 37. Nevertheless, they did flatter him with their mouth, and they lied unto him with their tongue, as they do today. As they do today. But instead of flattering God, they flatter the people with their meaningless words. 37, for their heart was not right with him, neither were they steadfast in his covenant. 38 and 39 is olive for commandment. But he, being full of compassion, forgave their iniquity, and destroyed them not. Yet many a time turned he his anger away, and did not stir up all his wrath, as he does today. Okay. He has not